Pick the one thing you want most right now. Don't say it, just hold it. Now answer the harder question. If it showed up tomorrow, the exact thing, would you actually know the law did it? Or would some part of you reach for another explanation? A coincidence? Your own hard work? Dumb luck? Most people can't answer that honestly. That gap is the real reason manifestation work quietly fails. Not because the law doesn't work, but because you never trusted the proof enough to stop testing it. There's a way to settle this before you risk the thing you actually want. Not with your desire, with something you don't care about at all, a ladder. Tonight, the 7-night technique that circulated through Neville's own circle, by some accounts run by Neville himself, and passed down through the students who kept it alive. Do this now before the video goes further. It takes under a minute. Think of your desire again, the real one. Close your eyes if you can, and try to feel right now that you already have it. Not think about it, feel it, the way you'd feel holding it in your hand. Hold that feeling for 5 seconds. Now, honestly, rate it. 0 to 10. 0 means it felt like pretend. 10 means it felt as real as the chair under you. Most of you landed somewhere between 3 and 6. Not 0, you're here, watching, but not 10 either. That number is the whole problem in a single digit. If your belief in your own desire only reaches a 6, you're not testing whether the law works. You're testing whether you can talk yourself into something you already doubt. A test you were built to fail because you care too much about the outcome to be honest about the evidence. Keep that number. I'll ask for it again before this video ends. One small, low-stakes thing before we go further. Subscribing costs you nothing you care about. It's a click, gone in a second. Then you stop thinking about it, and the next video simply shows up, or it doesn't. That's the exact shape of tonight's experiment. Pick something small. Let it prove itself without you forcing it, then trust the result. One line I need to draw before we go further. This is not a video telling you to go outside and physically climb a ladder. If you arrange that on purpose, you haven't proven anything. You've just climbed a ladder. The whole point is that you don't go looking for one. It also isn't bending physics, and it isn't summoning angels to arrange scaffolding in your path. What you're doing is ordinary. Holding one idea steady in your mind longer than your doubt can hold its objection. The only unusual part is what you're aiming it at and how short the test is. And this doesn't replace the real work, the years some of you have already put into what you actually want. A trivial test doesn't earn you a house or a relationship. It earns you exactly one thing: evidence the mechanism responds. So, this isn't a shortcut. It's a control group, testing something small and reversible before anyone bets their life on it. So where does this actually come from? The 7-night ladder story, the one you've probably run into online, secondhand, in a comment section or a caption, traces back to people who say they sat in Neville's meetings in the 1940s and 50s, some claiming Neville taught it as something he'd tested on himself first. A name keeps coming up, a student called Elmer Locker, said to have written about it too. I went looking for it in Neville's own writing, his words, on the page, under his name. And I have to be honest, because this channel doesn't get to lie just because the story is good. I could not verify that exact ladder account, word for word, in what I could access. It may live in a transcript I don't have. I'm not going to pretend I confirmed something I didn't. Here's what I did find, and it's stranger, and it's really his. Neville gave a lecture in the spring of 1968, titled, in his own words, Jacob's Ladder. In it, he takes the old story, Jacob asleep in the wilderness, his head on a stone, a ladder rising to heaven in his dream, and reads it the way he read every scripture, as a description of your own mind. He placed his head upon a rock, the rock being his skull, and here came that wonderful ladder. The rock is not a rock, it's your skull. The ladder doesn't rise from the ground. It rises out of sleep, the deep, drowsy, half-conscious state right before you go under, the one this channel has already shown you how to reach. You've seen this mechanism at full scale already, the impossible ticket that arrived with no money to pay for it. Tonight's test uses the smallest stage it can stand on. Before there was ever a wooden ladder in a testimonial, there was Neville's own ladder. It was never made of wood. Now here's the second piece, and it's the one that turns a metaphor into something you can actually run tonight. In that same lecture, Neville states the mechanism plainly. You must assume that you are now the man, the woman that you want to be, and persist in that assumption. Assume, not hope, not affirm out loud. Assume the way you'd assume it's Tuesday without checking a calendar. That's the ladder. The climb is the assumption. The rungs are the nights you keep assuming it after the feeling stops being exciting and starts being obvious. The top, where the ladder actually reaches, is the moment the assumption stops feeling like a belief and starts operating like a memory. Here's why the object has to be trivial, and it's the part almost nobody online explains. If you assume your way into the thing you desperately want, and it happens, your mind has 100 other explanations already loaded. You worked for it, you got lucky. The proof gets stolen before you get to keep it. But if you quietly assume for 7 nights that you'll find yourself climbing a ladder, no plan for it, no route to it, nothing you're doing to cause it, and then a neighbor asks you to clean a gutter, or a job puts you on a scaffold, or your kid's treehouse needs a rung fixed, there is no other explanation left standing. You didn't climb it. You were led to it. That's why it has to be something you don't want and can't engineer. That's the real reason it works as a technique at all. A test built so you can't cheat it, can't force it, can't explain it away. Now look at what you've actually been doing your whole life, probably without noticing. You want the promotion, so you use 6 months of stress and overtime as your test. You want the relationship, so you use months of anxious texting as your test. Neither is a clean test. They're things you're also acting on, dreading, checking, and you can't run a fair experiment on a subject you can't stay neutral about. That's the real problem tonight has a name for. The rigged test. Every time you use something you're desperate for as your only evidence the law is real, you've rigged the test against yourself before you even started, because you cannot stay honest about outcomes you need too badly. Do this now, before we move to the method. Go back to the number you gave yourself earlier, how real your desire felt, 0 to 10. Now imagine instead picking something you feel nothing about, a ladder, a specific color of car showing up 3 times in one day, something you couldn't fake wanting if you tried. Rate how real that feels right now, 0 to 10. For most of you, it just jumped. Not because the mechanism changed, because you stopped needing it to work, and belief got easier the second the outcome stopped being personal. Write that number down. That's the one that actually proves something. 3 rules. Here's the ladder. The actual 7 nights, start to finish. Rule 1. Pick blind. Choose something you have 0 access to arrange on purpose, that costs you nothing to be wrong about, and that you could verify in one glance. A ladder is the version the story tells. Yours can be anything with the same 3 properties. Write it down before Rule 2. If you don't commit it to paper right now, you'll quietly swap it later for something easier, and the test breaks. Rule 2. 7 nights, same short scene. Each night, before sleep, spend under 2 minutes assuming it's already true, not narrating a story, just resting in the feeling that it already happened, the way you'd tell a friend about something done and settled. This channel has already shown you why the last thing in your mind before sleep is the thing that counts. Use it here. Then stop and sleep. Rule 3. Don't go looking for it. This is the one that breaks the test if you skip it. During the day, you don't seek out a ladder or manufacture the opportunity. You live your ordinary life. If you engineer it, you haven't proven the law moved anything. You've just proven you have hands. 7 nights. Then you watch your ordinary week, not for a miracle, for a rung. 3 limits before I let you go. First, if picturing anything before sleep already triggers racing thoughts, checking behavior, or anxiety that follows you into the day, this isn't the exercise for that. That's a different problem, and it deserves a person, not a video about a lecture from 1968. Second, the predictable part. Most of you will hit night 4 or 5 with nothing happening, and the honest reaction is doubt. Was I even doing it right? That's expected, not a sign the test failed. Still doubting on night 7? That's data too, not defeat. Third, the size of the promise. If your ladder shows up, here is exactly what you've proven. Not that you'll get the money, not the relationship, that the mechanism responds to something you didn't force. That's the whole result, smaller than the title might have led you to expect. But smaller isn't nothing. It's the one piece of honest evidence most people manifesting for years never bother to collect, too busy running the rigged test on the thing they wanted too badly to be neutral about. So, Pick your object tonight. Write it down. 7 nights, under 2 minutes each, then don't look for it. And if it finds you, a rung, a stranger's request, a ladder you didn't plan for, that's not luck. One word in the comments if you run it. Rung. Tell me which night it happened. I read them.